What's going on, guys? It's Salvajee. In this video, I will be sharing with you guys one fundamental tip for, of course, each of the 4 javelins that we have in Anthem. I just want to let you guys know my 100 tips video on Anthem is linked in the description. Make sure you absolutely check that out. That video will teach you everything you need to know about Anthem. Now, let's get right into this video. Let's start off with one fundamental tip for the storm. As you are hovering with a storm, you want to keep 3 things in mind. Number 1, where the enemy is. Number 2, where the nearby cover is. And number 3, where your teammates are at. The AI in Anthem is kind of dumb, and for the most part, sometimes they don't really know who to focus on. So one of the things that you can do at the higher levels of play, like Grandmaster 2 for example, is have some of your teammates get the attention of the enemies, and then of course put yourself in a position where you can hover and of course set up combos, and this is of course something that you can continuously do. However, if you're a solo player, let's say that you're grinding strongholds on Grandmaster 1, something that is very helpful and very smart to do with the storm, like I said, is you always want to be hovering around cover. You always want to find out what's the nearest cover that is closest to you. Like that, of course, you don't get brought down very quickly. The difference between a great storm and an extremely effective storm is that the storm that is very effective knows where the cover always is, where the enemies are always at, and of course how to coordinate with their teammates so that they can maximize the experience and of course the utility that they can bring into the field. Now we're going to move on forward with the Ranger, and every time I see Ranger gameplay, the person is always just on the ground or just hovering. The Ranger has a ton of mobility that I will cover on my Ranger movement guide, so be on the lookout for that. But long story short and simply put, you always want to make sure that you're using the mobility that the Ranger brings into the table to always position yourself at key positions where you're going to have some cover, and of course you're also going to set up some combos for your team as well as yourself. You can jump, dodge, melee, jump, and dodge again to of course have a lot of mobility with the Ranger, or just a simple basic trick to sort of get you guys into the movement mechanics of the Ranger. You guys can jump, melee, and then jump to of course get a little bit of a distance, and that extra speed that you're going to be putting in with your jump canceling is of course going to help you get from one area to the next, from point A to point B, and that is of course going to give you the chance to of course set up some combos again for you as well as your teammates. And I just want to let you guys know, this is just a sneak peek of what my 100 tips video when it comes down to Javelin based combat is going to be about. If you're interested on that video, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on it. But enough about that, let's talk about the Colossus now. The Colossus has a lot of area of effect ability, so always make sure that you're using his abilities on area of effect as much as possible. For example, in this gameplay example right here, I set up a firewall. And as you guys can see, the enemies are just walking in and they're going to be taking damage over time. Keep in mind that the Colossus's passive ability is that every time that he lands a combo, a small area of effect explosion happens in the area where you specifically landed the combo. Now we're going to move on forward to the Interceptor. The biggest tip that I have for my Interceptor players out there, and trust me, this is coming from a guy that has a lot of hours in the Interceptor, is to become comfortable with the movement that the Interceptor has. But most importantly, make sure that you are using your weapons. The Interceptor actually has a couple of components that increase weapon damage, and that is for a reason, because a lot of people think the Interceptor is only a melee based character. You should be finishing every single enemy with your melee all the time. That is false. At least at the time of me making this video, you want to make sure that you're going around the enemies, you're going in, you're using your abilities, doing some pretty decent damage to them, and then of course going out. You see guys, as you're going in and activating your abilities with the Interceptor and then getting out, the trash mobs are basically distracted on you. And of course, like I said, the enemy AI in Anthem isn't that smart. If you get the attention of the trash mobs, that basically leaves your Storm as well as your Ranger Javelin and your Colossus Javelin in a situation where they can easily set up a combo for the team. Anthem, at the higher levels of play, it's all about teamwork. That's something that sometimes we tend to forget. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video where I shared one fundamental tip for every single Javelin. Make sure that you subscribe for my 100 tips video on Javelin based combat that will be coming soon, and of course I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Peace out.